Hello, everyone. Welcome to Random Talks, where we focus on all things AI and its impact across industries. We bring you great stories from leaders around the world. Today, I'm so excited to be joined by Fouzia, who is the global head of talent development for one of the world's largest and most prestigious banks. Fouzia, welcome to the show. So glad to have you here today.
Thank you, Chan. I'm honored to be here.
Absolutely. Before we dive into our discussion, I have to say that your journey in the banking industry is truly inspiring. You've had nearly 2 decades of experience working with some of the biggest names in the industry. And I'm just genuinely curious, right? What initially drew you to the field of talent development? And what is that thing which keeps this passion alive for you?
Thanks, Chan. To be honest, I stumbled into talent development. It was unexpected, highly rewarding. I recall a pivotal moment in my career when I faced the challenge of selecting the right path, and I was fortunate to have a mentor who helped me realize my full potential. This was not a path that I had initially, set my sights on. This experience of the mentor helping me select my path had a lasting impact, and I'm now committed to providing similar guidance and support to others. What keeps me going are those aha moments, right? When you see someone's eyes light up when they realize their potential is like hitting a career home run for me. Plus, the field is always evolving, right? So you have with AI, with VR, and who knows what next, right? There's always something new to learn and implement. It's like being a kid in a candy store of human potential. So definitely extremely rewarding.
Well, that's amazing. And it's always inspiring to hear what drives a leader like yourself, right? And me personally, too, what's really inspiring in this talent development space is, watching people thrive and grow, almost like watching a garden flourish. Right. And talking about growth, Fauzi, let's talk about company culture, right? We know that a strong culture is a recipe for an organization's success. I was reading this recent study by Deloitte, which found that 94% of executives believe that a strong culture is essential for an organization's growth. And from your experience, how has your organization's culture supported its digital transformation journey? Do you have any specific stories where culture really made a difference?
No, absolutely. And like you rightly said, with the study that you quoted, in organizations, culture plays a pivotal role in supporting digital transformation efforts, right? So, by fostering a culture that aligns with industry best practices, you can effectively not only drive but sustain
Mm,
your transformational initiatives. So let me share a few examples of something that's worked across my career. One of the things that we set our sights on is rewarding early adopters. Now that's very, very
mm,
crucial, right? So to recognize and reward them when they create an environment where which helps you create an environment, sorry, where innovation is encouraged and celebrated, right? So if
mm,
an organization introduces, let's say, a new digital tool, if you publicly acknowledge and reward the employees who quickly master it, right, and champion its use, this motivates others to engage with the technology, right, because they want to emulate that particular environment. And it also creates role models within the organization. Another thing which I'm sure a lot of people have quoted in the past is to fail fast and fail cheap, right? It embraces the concept of failing fast and cheap. What it also does is it encourages experimentation,
mm,
allowing folks to learn from their mistakes. You also have to understand as a leader that not every initiative is going to be successful, but each failure
mm,
provides invaluable insights, right? Employees are more willing to innovate without the fear. And in the sense you've created psychological safety there, right? So without the fear
mhm,
of
mhm.
negative repercussions, it helps you for rapid iterations,
Mhm.
agility, adaptation, which is extremely crucial for digital transformation. The third
True.
piece that I'd like to mention is communication, right? And communicating your
Mm,
vision in this sense, right? I can't emphasize on this enough. I say this to some of the teams that I work with. I say communicate, communicate, and over communicate, right? And that's something that's worked for us in the past. When leaders clearly articulate the benefits and objectives, employees are more
Mhm.
likely to understand their roles and the importance of their contributions, which helps you keep the vision alive and relevant. You can This will also allow you to embed this change into the DNA of the organization, right?
Absolutely.
But the most important factor is, people start an initiative with a lot of buzz, sort of fizzles
Mm-hmm.
out towards the end. So consistency is going to be extremely key. The next point that I'd like to share with you, I feel a lot of people may not resonate with this, and I call it creating a FOMO moment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and generating a sense of the fear of missing out, right? Like what we call FOMO.
Mm-hmm.
It can help you
Mm-hmm.
drive engagement by, if you showcase the successes, the benefits of the early adopters that we spoke of in the beginning, highlighting how
Mm-hmm.
others are advancing. You can create a compelling reason for everyone to participate and, be attached to the cause, so to speak. Um, and then and last but not the least, leveraging technology, right? So technologies like Gen AI, I feel, are akin to general purpose technology such as electricity, right? It impacts multiple areas like electricity does. It powers your house, it warms up your food, it can also send a message around the world, right? This has the potential, Gen AI has the potential to transform various aspects of business ops, from automating your routine tasks and helping you enhance your decision making process. If you're able to get employees to recognize the broad applicability of such technologies,
Mm-hmm.
organizations can, better integrate them into their operations. So Chan, have you heard of Sora?
Is this the text to image generation tool? But please tell me more about it. I know a bit, not too
Sure,
much.
yeah. So it's actually, Sora is a cutting edge text to video technology.
Mm-hmm.
And it really exemplifies how digital transformation can really impact the word. So it's basically converting written text to video content, and
Mm-hmm.
this technology can revolutionize content creation, or it can,
Mm-hmm.
get into enhancing your communication or even broadening the reach of, information dissemination. To give you an example, a few months back, I don't know if you've heard of Tyler Perry, but he's an actor, a filmmaker,
Mm-hmm.
and a producer. In the context of the story that I'm about to share with you, it's related to his example of being a movie producer in this instant, and how, cultural and technological shifts can influence decision making. So imagining Tyler Perry, and this has really happened, you can go back and check this case out,
Mm-hmm.
is about to, drop a whopping $800 million on developing a new studio. But when
Okay.
he heard about Sora, he hit pause. And instead
Mm-hmm.
of building a giant studio, he's thinking smarter and more futuristic. He recognized that the advancement in these digital technologies, such as text to video tools like Sora that I just mentioned, can
Yeah.
significantly alter the film production landscape. The videos that are being generated are hyper realistic, and it's a perfect example of how staying on top of tech trends can totally change your whole game plan, right? So he's no longer investing in that studio anymore, and it
Mm.
was estimated at about $800 million US dollars at that point in time. So, yeah, that's my bit on culture.
Well, those are such great examples, and some of the tips that you've shared would resonate with our audience a lot, and I learned something myself as well. And talking about the importance of culture, right? Even for a startup like Random Walk, we're just over a year and a half old, but even for a startup like us, we take culture very seriously and ensure that this is part of our weekly sessions to our values shouldn't be something that sits pretty on a deck or it's displayed on a wall. You spoke about the management really driving down that vision to the team, right? And we ensure that we do this over weekly catch up. So glad that you mentioned that. All right, Fauzi, let's shift gears and talk about the elephant in the room, right? Artificial intelligence. AI, like you said, is impacting industries. You've shared some great examples, And it's also making a huge difference in the finance industry. A recent McKinsey report suggests AI could generate a mind-blowing 1 trillion dollars in annual value for banks. So, Fauzi, how do you see AI impacting the future of work in banking and finance?
Chan, that's a brilliant question that you bring to the table, and I believe that AI is absolutely reshaping not only just the financial domain, but a lot of other industries as well, disrupting, so to speak. Um, I feel a lot of the real magic is happening behind the scenes, where AI is
Mhm,
becoming the unsung hero of at least our industry, where crunching numbers
mhm,
and solving complex problems that used to take armies of people to resolve earlier. An example that comes to mind is in the realm of risk management, where AI
mhm,
is being used to analyze vast data sets to predict potential financial crisis. It's like having a super powered crystal ball that can spot trends and patterns that humans might miss. Another area where AI is making waves is in the fraud detection space. These systems can process millions of transactions in seconds, helping us flag suspicious activity. So it's really helpful for security and compliance. And let's not forget about the back office operations where AI is automating and streamlining everything from accounting to regulatory reporting in some instances. It's helping folks free up their valuable time, focus on higher value tasks, and get involved in strategic initiatives. So while AI is certainly changing how we interact with customers, its impact on the back end is equally, if not more, profound. It's a game changer for efficiency, accuracy, and risk management, in my opinion.
that's fascinating. And like you said, the potential of AI in banking is truly transformative, right? Um, I know we touched upon culture a bit earlier, especially the importance of culture in business success. Now, looking at it from the current, AI era that we're in, a recent, 2024 IBM survey interestingly suggests that overcoming cultural resistance is a much bigger concern for CEOs compared to the technological challenges for AI adoption. Now, you're in a global role, heading, teams across continents. How do you work to shift the mindset of people and encourage acceptance for them to try new technologies?
Right, and that's a very important aspect that you've touched upon, right? Because it's extremely tricky,
Mm-hmm.
as folks have figured that out. So shifting mindsets about AI, in our opinion, is like building trust, which we do layer by layer. We believe it's all about demystifying,
Mm-hmm.
firstly, and more importantly, humanizing the tech.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's ultimately, while AI helps you with decision making, but the final call always human. Some of the things that could help is you could host AI mythbuster sessions to debunk fears, and
Mm-hmm.
it will help you spark curiosity as well, right? So once people see that AI is really a helpful sidekick rather than a sci-fi villain,
Mm-hmm.
acceptance should follow like the latest TikTok trend. It's all about showing, so you could have show and tell. For
Mm-hmm.
example, industry veterans have started sharing simple use cases like how AI is catching, for example, fraudulent transactions faster than humans ever could. So once people are able to, see the real world benefits, the fear factor starts to fade. It's also
Mm-hmm.
crucial to emphasize that AI is a tool which
Mm-hmm.
helps you enhance the capability, not replace them. So, if you're able to shift the focus to collaboration and upskilling, we've managed to
Mm-hmm.
turn skeptics into champions. But like I mentioned earlier, a little bit, and if I can touch upon that one more time, is the leadership, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the leadership sets the tone. If you
Mm-hmm.
want a team of AI champions, you've got to be the first believer. It starts with the top brass. So, a couple of points that come to mind, not couple, a few that come to mind is walking the talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Leaders need to be visibly invested in AI, from attending AI conferences to experimenting with AI tools. Their enthusiasm is contagious and multifold. Allocate resources. That's the second point. Money talks. Investing in AI
Mm-hmm.
tools, training, projects shows your
Mm-hmm.
team that AI is a priority. If you're able to then champion a culture of learning, we feel that that's an important element in cementing this entire process together. Right. So, how are you creating a workplace where experimentation and failure are okay? This will encourage employees to explore AI without fear. And last but not the least, I feel sometimes this is a very decredited portion, is to celebrate
Mm-hmm.
successes. Not every time do we take the time out to celebrate success, because in the whirlwind of all that happens around us, it's important to look at the small wins, even if it's a small task that has been automated, or you've developed a new AI model. It should be recognized. It motivates the team to aim higher. So this is how we try and embed and hope to include a culture of curiosity and learning, and move the needle on changing the mindset.
And that's such great advice. And you've touched upon some really important points, right? When you spoke about communication, demonstrating the tangible benefits, you spoke about, turning skeptics into advocates once they're able to see the positive impact. So, definitely really good advice for encouraging acceptance. And, speaking about this, Fauzi, there is a natural fear of AI replacing jobs, especially in banking and finance. How do you address these concerns amongst employees, and what kind of strategies do you use to ensure that employees feel secure, as you said, and see AI as an opportunity for growth rather than a threat? I think this is like a little related to what we spoke about just now, but if you could elaborate a bit more.
Right. Look, it's natural to worry about AI taking jobs, right? It's like the robot
Mm,
job apocalypse myth. It's like
yeah.
when calculators came out and people thought that math teachers were no longer going to exist. Uh, but it's important that we understand that this is the pattern, and it's about showcasing how AI is a job enhancer, not a job
Mm-hmm.
snatcher. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a super smart assistant, right, who never takes a coffee break. But decisions that involve, let's say, ethics or handling of sensitive data, those are firmly in human hands, right? So, for
Mm-hmm.
instance, if an AI tool driven analytics can help you
Mm-hmm.
tailor financial advice with precision, but the ultimate decision to invest remains guided by the human insight or any ethical
Yeah.
considerations that you need to have. In customer service, for example, it frees up time for our human teams to handle complex queries with care. Take
Mm-hmm.
Microsoft Copilot, for instance. It can summarize complex documents in seconds, which is a game changer for anyone who's ever drowned in paperwork or is working in the knowledge management space. It does not replace the person who understands the content, but it makes their
Mm-hmm.
job way more efficient. I don't know if you've toggled around with the tool, but it can even give you short summaries if you've uploaded a whole host of documents.
Yeah.
And if you want to learn about, a particular process, policy, or anything, it'll even give you a short summary if you ask it to. So that's Copilot for you. The
Mm-hmm.
truth is, AI is creating entirely new industries and roles. Just think about the app economy or social media influencers. These jobs did
Yeah.
not exist a few decades ago. If you've heard of the Moore's Law, Chan, it's based on the observation, or it's based off the observation, that the number of transistors on a computer chip will roughly double every 2 years. This law
Mm-hmm.
is associated with the decreasing size of the transistors and increasing the power of computers, right? The shrinking size of these
Mm-hmm.
transistors allows them to, densely populate the chip, which in turns
Mm-hmm.
doubles the processing powers. They say that this chip, or the transistors on this chip, will double every 2 years. I'm just re emphasizing the point. And this was
Mm-hmm.
described by Gordon Moore was an Intel co-founder in 1965, and he didn't do that, as a predictive analysis, but he did that through an observation of a long-term technology trend, right? So he's been observing that.
Okay.
It has
Mhm.
remained the golden rule for the electronics industry, and now with AI, it is estimated that this may double every 2 months with the help of AI. Right, so from 2 years to 2 months. As for the fear of being replaced, as my beloved husband likes to say, there is no I in Teams, but there is I in AI.
No,
Uh,
yeah.
so what that
That's
means,
a good one. That's a good one. We
he's
should have
coined
him
it,
on
so
the
I'm giving him credit. I did tell him I'll give him credit.
show. Yeah.
So what that means is while AI is a powerful tool, it needs humans to guide it, to interpret its output, and to infuse it with creativity. So instead of fearing AI, if we could shift
Mhm.
focus on how we can leverage it to our advantage, and create even more amazing things faster. And I don't know if folks remember, but when Google had the AI helper, it was initially named Google Bard. It has been rechristened, and they've called it Gemini now. So it's Google Bard on steroids. And for folks who are interested, please do feel free to check out Midjourney, Dolly. These are some tools
Yeah.
that can help you in the image, creation process, etc. There are a host of tools. Like if I get started, I think we'll need another podcast just to cover the tools. But in the interest of time, Chad,
Yeah.
over to you.
We'll have you back for the next episode. No worries. Always eager to learn. I mean, that's so important, right? You spoke about AI augmenting human capabilities, not replacing them. And this is a great approach, focusing on growth and opportunities, and definitely elevating any concerns about, AI replacing jobs. Um, Now, as we move towards a more AI-driven, future, Fauzi, I know you spoke a lot about leadership earlier. I just want to touch a bit more on that. What skills do you think will become even more crucial for leaders? Do you think it would be their technical expertise, or will soft skills like critical thinking, problem solving remain equally vital? How are you preparing your leaders for these changes?
It's a very important piece that you've touched upon, right? Leadership, and not just leadership. All employees in our mind, especially in an AI driven future, need a potent mix of both technical and human skills, right? Technically, understanding AI fundamentals is a must, right? If
Mhm.
you're able to grasp concepts like LLMs, known as large language models, and their architecture is extremely crucial. Beyond understanding the basics of AI, folks should grasp concepts like data engineering, to ensure that you understand that quality data fuels AI models. Now, if you're going to feed it bad data, you're going to get bad outputs. Simply to simplify that piece. And statistical modeling is essential to interpret the model outputs accurately, right? So, for example, a leader might use a statistical model to assess the accuracy, right, of the AI
Mhm,
driven
mhm,
output. So that's extremely critical as well. Skills like prompt engineering or reverse prompt engineering, um,
mhm,
is going to become crucial, right? So it's like teaching the AI to learn from its mistakes are becoming invaluable. You
mhm,
might want to look at Google Labs as a playground for experimenting with these skills. It's a testing
mhm.
ground for experimental Google products and features. Imagine
Okay.
it as a digital lab where Google scientists and engineers can try out new ideas. You can look that up if that
Mm.
interests you. But while
Fascinating. Yeah.
we've yes, so while we focused on the technical components which we feel are essential,
Yeah.
to understand AI's capabilities, limitations, but so are the human or the soft skills, like you mentioned, especially in the ethical decision making space, right?
Mm.
How do we bring in
True.
ethics? What's the responsible use of AI?
Mhm,
Navigating
mhm,
uncertainty. How do you tell a compelling story? How do you infuse cultural sensitivity? And
mhm,
if you can understand the ethical implications of
mhm,
having implemented that AI tool. But on a lighter note, industry leaders. invest in upskilling programs faster than a microwave heating up your popcorn. And then your your
You're bringing
workforce is future ready.
really good analogies today. I love it.
Thank you.
Sorry. Continue. I interrupted. Continue. Yeah.
But I would like, on this topic, would like to bring an extremely important aspect, to consider, especially if you're going to be working with AI tools or building them, right? Have
Hmm.
you heard of the European Union AI Legislation Act, Chan? And for
I
folks who
haven't.
haven't,
Please
yeah,
tell
it's
us
it's just
about it.
happened
Yeah.
a couple of months back, right? This year.
Okay. Okay.
It's like having a traffic cop
Mm-hmm.
of the AI world, and they're trying to keep things in order. So what
Mm-hmm.
the EU is basically saying, and EU in this case is European Union, right? It's saying AI, you're powerful, but you need
Yeah.
rules. It's
Mm.
a risk-based classification system that they've come up with, and they've divided AI into four categories, from having
Okay.
minimal risk, like something to the equivalent of having a spam filter, to an
Okay.
unacceptable risk, which is like AI, don't even think about it. Now you might
Okay.
ask me what's good about this, right? It's like putting a seatbelt on AI, safety first, right?
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
helps build trust between people and technology. So
Mm-hmm.
imagine an AI
Absolutely.
system making life or death decisions in the healthcare industry without any checks.
Mm-hmm.
It's extremely scary to envision that. This
Definitely.
act is trying to prevent that. Plus, it
Yeah.
levels the playing field for businesses. No more Wild West AI.
Mm-hmm.
What's the
Mm-hmm.
catch 22, you might think? Too much of regulation can stifle innovation. It's like telling a kid to be creative, but then giving them 1,000 rules. Also, defining what is and isn't AI can be tricky. Is your toaster an AI now? So let's not forget, enforcing those rules globally is also going to be a mammoth task. What does that mean for us? Buckle up. If you are building an AI product, expect more paperwork and legal hurdles. But on the flip side, it's a chance to build trust and show that you're playing fair. It's like getting a quality seal for your AI product. What does it mean for consumers? Well, hopefully, it means safer, fairer AI, and that's just the beginning. The AI world is moving so fast, and so are the rules. What about the fines? Is there a stick to the carrot for this EU legislation act, AI legislation act? Yes. Non compliance can be very expensive, as there are large fines associated, depending on the severity of the breach. It's like a speeding ticket, but for AI. So businesses need to be prepared to invest in compliance or face the consequences. For instance, the most severe violations can lead to fines of up to 35 million euros, or 7% of the company's global annual turnover. So that was my 2 cents on this question.
I mean that is so informative, and I'm sure it opens rooms for our audience to actually go look up, read up more about this, and understand what this framework says. I'm definitely going to do that. Fouzia, or connect with you and learn more about it. It's really interesting. And talking about this, right? Learning. We often hear about the importance of training technical teams in AI, but as you've mentioned, and you've made excellent points about how AI is impacting all areas of business, right? So, how important is it to extend AI training beyond just the technical teams? What about your purchase manager, your customer service manager? What about all of these non-technical managers? Should they be put into some kind of AI training programs as well? What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. It's extremely important. It's like teaching everyone to swim in the digital ocean, not just the lifeguards. Right? AI training isn't just about algorithms, or in layman terms, AI isn't just a tech thing.
Yeah,
Extending the AI training beyond technical teams ensures that everyone speaks the same digital language, especially in the leadership level as well, right? That's something that's been debated across the industry. So while We know that the engineers would build the models. Everyone in the
Mm,
company needs to understand how AI works and what are its implications.
absolutely.
Um, I didn't touch this upon in the EU Act, but there is a consideration that you need to have responsible AI and ethical use of AI, which I've touched upon in my
Mm,
earlier responses, but just bringing that up as it comes to
yeah.
mind. So from your marketing, HR, or shared services or functions, understanding AI's potential is going to help you unleash creativity, right, and efficiency across the board. You have to understand how AI impacts and how everyone can play a role in safeguarding that data, because that's going to be extremely important, and make responsible decisions. In all cases, human oversight is going to remain an anchor in the AI storm. So, if you don't grasp the potential of AI driven solutions, leaders could miss out on huge opportunities. By training the
Mm-hmm.
entire workforce, you are ensuring that everyone is aligned, they can spot
Yeah.
opportunities, and contribute to AI's successful implementation and adoption in your organization.
Thanks, Valzi, for bringing that up. And I'm so glad you spoke about, alignment with the business goals, because I was reading up about the major cause of, AI project failure. And one thing that kept coming up is the lack of alignment with the organization's goals or the business goals, right? And the non-technical team not being a part of these initiatives. But as you said, if they get, at least if they have some basic AI literacy, they would be able to identify potential within their own departments. And like you rightly said, it opens rooms for innovation. I thought I'll just put this out there for our listeners as well, that at Random Walk, we strongly recognize this need. And we also offer, business focused AI training and workshops specifically for business function heads and leaders. So you might want to go to our website and check that out. Um, Great, moving on. Okay, we've covered a lot today, Fauzi, and with all your wisdom leading talent development at a global scale, what advice would you give to business leaders or a leader in human resource, learning and development space, trying to navigate the age of AI? Any key lessons that you've learned along the way, which you think it would be crucial for them to know of?
Well, like you rightly mentioned earlier, when we met last, AI wasn't a thing then, but it's there everywhere today. So I believe that navigating the AI era as a talent leader is like charting uncharted waters. This did not exist earlier, so we are trying to learn on the go, and it's changing extremely fast, right? So it's important to keep up. It's about more than just having the tech skills, like we explored a little earlier. But what I probably would feel, as a lesson that we would probably take back from, and there are many, so maybe I'm just focusing on a couple, is to foster a culture of lifelong learning. Right? How do we adapt to new technologies? Are we agile enough? And especially, I cannot emphasize on investing in understanding the ethical use of AI. So this also has implications on your legislation act that EU has recently released, and responsible use of AI. Right. So I'll keep talking about that to reiterate. And while we foster the culture of lifelong learning, as I mentioned earlier, it's also important to allow curiosity to thrive. And those are some pieces that I'd like, maybe folks who are listening in today to take back. What it means for us is to embrace AI, but with a human touch. So equipping your teams with tools to navigate AI responsibility, where ethical decision making is as valued as your technical prowess, and adaptability is the new superpower in my mind. So on that note, I would probably just like to say that remember that AI is just a tool, and I can't stress on this enough. Its ethical use is our responsibility. And I'd like to end on that note.
That's really good takeaway. And folks, that's a wrap for today's episode of Random Talk. Fauzi, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your incredible insights. Loved all the examples that you shared, and yeah, would love to have you back on the next episode where we could dive a bit more into the tools, like you said. And it's clear that AI is not just a buzzword, but it's going to be a game changer. So, to our audience, I hope you enjoyed our chat as much as we did. If you found our discussion valuable, or if you're just, a fan of AI, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And if you're curious about how AI can make a difference in your organization, remember Random Walk is here to help you every step of the way. Thanks again for tuning in. And remember, as Fauzia rightly said, remember to stay curious, keep learning, keep exploring. Until next time, goodbye, everyone. Thank you.